Hi, welcome back to my channel, Zen and Fit. If you're new here, I appreciate you checking out my videos. Today I'm going to be talking about the struggle being so real for a lot of us. And what I'm talking about is dealing with the financial stress of day-to-day living, whether that's coming up with money to pay for your rent, your mortgage, grocery expenses, utilities, and everything else under the sun.
Today we got new economic data showing consumer prices rose 3.2% in July, far smaller than the 8.5% at this time last year. CBS's Carter Evans reports that while inflation has fallen in some areas, the summer heat is keeping some costs white hot.
I don't have to worry about paying this air conditioning bill.
For Robin Line, the air conditioning in her building's community room is a welcome relief.
What do you keep the thermostat in your apartment?
Oh, 78.
But her July electric bill still jumped 46%, and on a fixed income, she can barely cover the basics.
I have to choose, milk one week, eggs the next week. It's very difficult.
The inflation numbers seem to be easing. Are you feeling it at home though?
No, not at all.
Running air conditioning in the record heat is expected to drive up energy costs nearly 12% this summer. It's a budget buster for some families.
There's a lot of work that shows that poorer households do suffer a higher inflation rate. These people are feeling it somewhere around 5 to 6%.
That's because most of a low-income family's budget goes to necessities, which are still rising, like rent, groceries, and electricity. And there's new evidence people are using credit cards to cover the bills. For the first time in the U.S., credit card debt has surpassed $1 trillion.
We polled consumers that carry credit card balances about what was behind that, what caused it. Emergency and unplanned expenses was the top answer, but even everyday expenses, about 1 in 4, it's a sign of financial strain.
In one of my older videos, I mentioned dealing with financial stressors, but I wanted to bring this up again today because a lot of us are still dealing with this. So many people on social media have been talking about the struggles of daily living due to, of course, the high cost of rent, a mortgage if you do have one, if you're lucky enough to be able to get a house, and just, the list goes on. And it definitely appears that we are living in a society where there's less of a middle class and you just have the wealthy and basically the working class / let's say, people in poverty. As a result of these high costs and expenses all across the US, a lot of people have been experiencing difficult times. This is especially true for communities of color, particularly Black people. If you really think about it, you have these large corporations and businesses who are benefiting off of the labor of their employees, of what they're producing. However, a lot of these companies don't want to compensate their employees and, pay them basically reasonable wages to live off of. If you're trying to get better wages or benefits, it's basically like you have to fight tooth and nail to get that, or I won't even say to get that, but to even get an increase, because a lot of these companies, even if they are bringing in tremendous profits, they're not willing to share those profits with their employees, it seems like, at most companies. And I'm not saying that it's like this at every single company, but at a lot of places, this seems to be the case. Just like if you've been noticing on the news over the past couple of years, there's been a lot of strikes or negotiations going on with unions because employees feel like, hey, I'm not getting paid enough. I'm doing all this labor for this company, but I can't even survive. Or I can't even afford to utilize any type of healthcare services because my premiums are too high or out-of-pocket costs are so high. Some of you may be able to relate. Maybe you're actually going through this right now where you're having to advocate for yourselves at your places of employment, or maybe you have friends or peers who are actually going through this type of situation. So it seems like it's becoming more common, or at least it's being highlighted more on the news and in media where people are speaking out about their wages and not being compensated right. And when I'm talking about companies and businesses, I'm particularly focused on these businesses that are large and extremely profitable, who have cash on their books and just aren't willing to share any of those profits, it seems like, with their employees, which is not right. Recently, I was watching some videos on social media where people were basically venting their frustrations about dealing with the high cost and constantly working around the clock, working 2 jobs even, and still barely surviving. And this one woman in particular, she was talking about slavery and how that even relates to present day, because when you think about it, a lot of people were being exploited during slavery. And you had businesses who were making exponential amounts of money off of these people's suffering and their labor. And when you think about it in present times, some of the same dynamics are happening even right now, even though, of course, it's nowhere comparison to, what happened during slavery to a lot of Black people. But a lot of people are still being exploited. That's a common theme. There's a lot of exploitation still happening with a lot of these businesses where they really don't want to pay for anything, but they want a free service. They want you to produce as an employee, but they don't want to compensate. I thought this was something important to make note of because our history is important. It's important to be aware of history because a lot of things do repeat itself, or there's common themes that happened in the past that are still occurring in present day. And so when we're looking at the job market and labor, there's a common theme that a lot of companies do engage in some form of exploitation of their employees and trying to minimize as much as possible in paying out and maximize their profits above and beyond what is necessary. If you would like me to do more videos on this particular topic, please let me know in the comments section, and I look forward to reading any comments that you may have in regards to this, because this does affect a lot of people. Even if it doesn't affect you personally, you may know of someone who's going through this, experiencing hard times. And until next time, I hope you all take care. And please remember to hit the like and subscribe button because that actually supports the content on this channel and helps me to do more videos in the future. Take care.